Welcome back, everyone. Russia has stepped up efforts to battle the wildfires near the site of the world's worst nuclear disaster. Around 3,500 firefighters are battling the fires near the country's main nuclear research center in Sarov. Concerns are mounting that the burning forests contaminated by the 1986 Chernobyl disaster could pose a radiation risk in the area. Experts fear the disaster could whip up radioactive particles into the air. Fires have been burning through western Russia for a week now. Officials say the areas engulfed by the fires have halved, and much of the blaze is now under control.
It will take billions of dollars to get Pakistan's agriculture and farming back to normal after the recent devastating floods there. UN humanitarian operations spokesman Maurizio Giuliano says the flooding has caused extensive damage to the country's agriculture. Earlier, the UN's Food and Agriculture Organization, the FAO, announced that around 700,000 acres of crops remain underwater, and surviving livestock are reported to be left without feed. 3/4 of 14 million people affected by the floods rely on farming for their livelihoods.
Heavy rain in China is disrupting rescue efforts in the northwest Zhaochu County, where a devastating landslide has killed more than 1,100 people over the weekend. More on this report.
The flood-stricken region in China's northwestern province of Gansu is not out of harm's way yet, as more rainfall is expected. The region is reeling from a massive mudslide that killed more than 1,100 people over the weekend. More than 1,000 others are listed as missing.
In accordance with the registration of disaster victims and the progress of the cleanup operation, as well as the identification of the dead and missing, it's still possible that the numbers of dead and missing could rise.
The overnight downpour has critically raised water levels in a river that runs through Zhaochu County. The river broke its banks on Sunday, sending an avalanche of mud down on the town. Entire communities were swallowed up. Floodwaters up to 3 stories high have submerged half the county. Chinese troops are now racing against time to clear debris from the river before more rains turn tragedy into catastrophe. With mud and debris covering many houses, chances are slim of finding anyone alive. But despite all odds, a 50-year-old man was pulled out alive from a hotel, buried under debris and mud after 3 days. Fresh rain has made distribution of relief items even harder. Those affected are in dire need of drinking water because local water supplies have been destroyed or are too polluted to use. Despite the extremely difficult conditions, some survivors still see light at the end of the tunnel.
I'll be staying in this town and see it recover. I think it will get better. It can't stay like this forever.
The mudslides are the latest in a string of weather-related disasters to hit China. More than 2,100 people lost their lives or were reported missing, with 12 million others evacuated even before the Gansu mudslide tragedy.
Stormy weather has wreaked havoc in the east coast of Australia, meanwhile, leaving at least 1 person dead. Strong winds have uprooted trees and toppled electrical poles in residential suburbs of Melbourne, and torrential rains have triggered floods in affected areas. A man has died after his car smashed into a tree blocking a road. High winds also caused a chartered fishing boat to capsize, but the people on board have reportedly been rescued. Weather forecasts say the low-pressure system behind the storm will continue to affect the country's east coastline in the coming days.
Turkey says it'll continue